Have you felt like something has changed, but you don't know what? The angels know. They show me the invisible thread that connects your heart to another soul, a bond woven even before this life began. There's a sacred mission pulsing within that connection, and now the time has come to remember why you two met. It wasn't by chance. Not out of need. It was for a purpose. This person, who entered your life as if stumbling upon the unexpected, was actually placed in your path by divine order, so that both of you could recognize each other amidst the chaos. So that, even in moments of disconnection and silence, the soul would remember something ancient, something eternal. The angels say, "You are the light he didn't know he needed." And even without understanding, he feels it. You were sent to break down walls he built with pain. To be the mirror in which he can finally see himself truthfully. Not to save him, that's not your role. But to ignite the spark that had been extinguished. And yes, that's frightening. He tries to resist. But he can no longer pretend that nothing has changed since he met you. And you, even without wanting to bear this burden, sense that something larger is happening. Something that goes beyond the unspoken words. It's the feeling that there's a story between you that didn't start now. And it won't end here either. When you appeared, he was lost in his certainties. Used to loving halfway, afraid to dive in. But your presence, your way of loving without pleading, your silent truth, was like a subtle earthquake. It toppled his certainties. Made room for the new. Even though he is still trying to understand. The angels show me glimpses of his past. Wounds that still ache. Promises that were never kept. And a heart weary from giving where it wasn't seen. And then you. Who asked for nothing. Who demanded nothing. Who simply was. And for him, that was enough. Because his essence speaks the language that his soul recognizes. You are on this mission not to be chosen by him, but to remind him that he can also choose himself. And perhaps one day, choose to love with courage. The mission is greater than romance. It is awakening. So if today he pulls away, if he hesitates, do not blame yourself. You are already fulfilling the purpose. You are already the seed that germinates even when it seems dormant. Because the truth is, when God connects two paths with purpose, neither time nor fear, nor silence can stand in the way. And we know that all things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are called according to his purpose. Romans 8 verse 28, there is a pain he carries that has no name. And maybe you felt it too, even without him saying a single word. The angels whisper that you have noticed the silences that scream. The absence that weighs more than any forced presence. This distancing, this back and forth, has nothing to do with you. It has to do with the walls he had to build to survive. It's not a lack of feeling. It's an excess of fear. This man, who now inhabits your thoughts, grew up learning that feeling was dangerous. That surrendering was falling. He wasn't taught to trust, to be vulnerable, or to receive love without suspicion. He was shaped by pain, by absence, by unreciprocated expectations. And then you arrived, with your firm sweetness, your complete presence. And what should have been comfort became confrontation. A confrontation with everything he tried to hide. The angels say, your light has cast a shadow on his wounds. And now, he doesn't know what to do with it. That's why he runs. Not from you, but from the reflection you offer. Because loving you means admitting that he never truly knew how to love. It's recognizing how much he has missed out on living out of fear of feeling. And that hurts. He sees in you the possibility of a love that doesn't need masks. But he still can't walk without them. And here lies your pain. You feel like you're paying for mistakes you didn't make. You're holding onto a feeling that is real, but he still doesn't know how to sustain it. You try to understand, you try to embrace. But you also feel the exhaustion of carrying an absence that isn't yours. It's not fair, but it's human. You were made for love, not to beg for affection. And still you wait, because you sense that behind these barriers, there is a heart that cries out. A heart that, if it were free, would run to yours. He feels. But he doesn't know what to do with what he feels. The angels show that he has learned to survive, not to love. And now, in front of you, he is being invited to unlearn, to deconstruct, to let go of the armor. This takes time. It requires courage. And he hasn't found either one yet. But know this, your presence has already started the process. Your soul is already acting where words cannot reach. You have awakened consciousness, even if he still denies it. Even if he tries to disguise it. And if he pulls back, it's because he is feeling more than he would like to admit. The challenge now is not to win him over. It's to not lose yourself trying to hold on to him. You are not called to heal anyone at the cost of your own pain. You are called to remind him that there is something beyond fear. That love can indeed be a home, and not a war. This phase of the journey is tough, yes. But it is also necessary. Because before he can open his heart, he needs to open his wounds. And you? You need to remember that it is not your mission to bleed to prove that you love. You have offered so much. You have given yourself completely. You have waited, even without guarantees. But now, the angels lean in and whisper, take care of yourself. This love, no matter how intense and true it is, cannot be the reason for your exhaustion. You are a sacred temple. And even if the heart desires to stay, there is something deeper calling for your attention, your own light. How many times have you put his pain before your own? How many times have you waited for a gesture, a response, and silenced your own needs in the name of love? The angels say, loving does not require losing yourself. The connection between you is real, but it will only flourish if you are whole. If you don't dim your light trying to be a beacon for someone still walking in the dark. True love never asks you to shrink, to negate yourself, or to empty out. You have too much light to be forgotten by yourself. Turn inward. Take a deep breath. Listen to what your body has been telling you. The exhaustion that builds up in your shoulders. The tears you hold back. The silence that screams for care. No, this is not drama. It's a sign. A sign that your soul is asking for comfort. From you to you. You don't need to be strong all the time. Nor do you have to keep hope standing on your own. Sometimes, loving yourself means saying, now I choose to prioritize myself. The angels show you in a field of light, surrounded by voices that support you, even if silently. It's as if the entire sky is reminding you, you are also a daughter. You deserve to be embraced. The man you pray for is in a process. But your process matters too. And maybe at this moment the greatest act of love you can offer him is to love yourself so much that he learns, by observing you, how to love himself too. Love is not sacrifice. It is reciprocity. And if it's not yet time for you to meet fully, may this time apart serve for you to reconnect with yourself. To discover parts of you that have been dormant. To dance again with your own essence. You can love deeply. And still, choose yourself every day. Remember, a healthy love starts with a heart at peace. And that heart is yours. Have you noticed that ever since this person entered your life, old emotions have started to surface like waves that didn't ask for permission? Forgotten memories. Fears you thought you had overcome. An unease that sometimes can't be explained, yet insists on making itself felt. The angels say, he sees in you what he tries to deny in himself. This encounter between you two was not only magical. It was also a reflection. You have been a mirror for him. And without realizing it, he has also reflected parts of you that were hidden, or protected by layers of survival. The light you carry does reveal the best in him. But it also shines a light on what he has spent his life trying to keep in the shadows. He sees himself in you. And that, at times, is more frightening than enchanting. This is why there is resistance. This is why there is silence. This is why there are ups and downs. When you love someone deeply, you become a mirror. And no one faces their own reflection without feeling a shiver. It's a process of deconstruction. He looks at you and sees what could be, what he lost, what he didn't know how to take care of in the past. But you also see yourself through him. In moments when you feel rejected, it's not just his absence that hurts. It's the echo of all the other absences that came before. It's the old pain of not being chosen, of having waited too long, of having stayed silent out of fear of losing. This love reveals. It amplifies. It invites healing, even if, at first, everything feels chaotic. The angels show me that your souls recognized each other, not just through affinity, but out of a need for transformation. You are not here just to feel love. You are here to be permeated by it, to allow it to bring to the surface everything that needs to be seen, touched, and healed. This is why it sometimes hurts. Because true love does not only caress, it exposes. It invites truth. It forces the soul to shed its defenses. And the question that remains is, how willing are you to see yourself completely? He is in conflict because he sees in you the life he could live, but he still doesn't know how to sustain it. And you, in turn, are being called to confront yourself more deeply. To realize that this bond did not emerge to confirm needs, but to reveal potentials. This connection is not about completion. It's about confronting and, at the same time, embracing. And the greatest gift you both can give each other right now is the courage not to run away. Courage to stay, even if it's only internally. To keep seeing yourself. To keep allowing the other's mirror to reveal not only the wounds, but also the light that exists in each of you. There's something different in the air. A subtle change, almost imperceptible to the ordinary eye, but your soul feels it. Have you noticed? The angels say, he is beginning to wake up. Not with a grand gesture. Not with promises or articulated words. But with signs. Small. Almost shy. Like someone who, after a long time in the dark, opens their eyes and blinks slowly, trying to adjust to the light. You are that light. And he is beginning to notice. The way he starts to observe your gestures again. How he responds with more presence. How he hesitates before moving away, different from before, when silence was automatic. Now there's doubt. Now there's weight. His heart, even without understanding, is beginning to remember. Remember who he is when he loves without fear. Remember what he felt the first time he saw you. Remember the calm that your voice brings. The silent recognition that made him stop and think, I know this energy, even without knowing where it comes from. He tries to act as he always has. But the angels show that inside something has broken. And this rupture is the beginning of awakening. Yes, he is still afraid. Yes, he still retreats. But he can no longer deny that something is shifting within him. And that changes everything. Because when the soul begins to wake up, nothing remains in the same place. Do you feel it? His words are still restrained, but the look in his eyes, oh, the look no longer lies. He carries questions. He carries desire. He carries guilt, too. And above all, he carries truth. The process is slow, and it requires silence. Because it's not you who will lead this awakening. It's the time of his soul that will guide each step. But your presence was the trigger. You didn't need to convince him. Or prove anything. You simply were who you are, and that was enough for him to start moving from within. The angels say, you planted a son in his heart. And now he's trying to protect himself, even while feeling that he wants to stay. This awakening, no matter how delicate, is real. It's not measured by immediate actions, but by vibrations. By sensations that can't be explained, yet change everything. It's as if his inner world is reorganizing itself to welcome you. You were the beginning. He is the process. And love, the promise. Trust. The awakening has already begun. You feel like you're trapped in a dance you didn't choose. One step forward, 2 steps back. A gaze that ignites, then a silence that cools everything down. And in the midst of this, your heart silently asks, how long? The angels say, he comes back because he can't leave. But he runs away because he still doesn't know how to stay. It's not a lack of love. It's an excess of fear. What happens between you isn't abandonment. It's a cycle. A pattern that repeats because there are parts of him, and perhaps parts of you too, that still don't know how to sustain the love they're asking for. It's as if the connection between you is too strong to be broken, but too intense to be experienced without preparation. He seeks you when the outside world feels too empty, when no other connection makes sense. And then, upon feeling again the strength of what you have, he pulls back. Not because he doesn't feel, but because he feels too much. The angels show that each step back from him is not a denial, it's self-defense. Like a bird that gets scared when it sees the cage is open. The freedom you represent also frightens him. Because loving you requires presence. It requires commitment. And he has spent his whole life practicing the opposite. You wonder if you're enough. If you're doing something wrong. But the truth is, you've gone too deep inside him. And now, he doesn't know how to handle what he has awakened. This back and forth is a reflection of his internal conflict. His soul calls out to you. But his ego still resists. He comes back when he feels he might lose you. And pulls away when he senses he can love you. It's not fair. But it's real. And you? You've been holding this cycle with a silent strength. Trying not to get swept away by the emotional roller coaster. Trying to keep hope alive without losing yourself in the process. The angels whisper, you're not doing it wrong. You're learning to love without forgetting yourself. There's something in you that he can't find in anyone else. That's why he keeps coming back. But there's something in him that still doesn't know how to embrace the love you offer. That's why he runs away. And this cycle will only transform when he, and you, start breaking the patterns that support this repetition. You're not here to wait for an eternity. But you're also not here to force time. You're here to live your own healing while he finds the courage to heal as well. If today he is distant, no, he still feels. He still thinks. He still comes back, even if only in thought. But now, it's time for you to choose not to hurt yourself to keep him close. It's time to let the dance change its rhythm. And if it's meant to continue, let it be with both feet on the ground. Because true love doesn't need to run away to feel real. There's a kind of love that doesn't shout. That doesn't beg. That doesn't show off. It simply is. And it transforms everything around, even in silence. The angels say, what you feel for him has healed wounds he never dared to show. This connection that seems so fragile is actually pure strength. You didn't touch him with words, but with your presence. Not with promises, but with truth. And this is the kind of love that heals, not by what it demands, but by what it allows. Since you arrived, something in him has started to rearrange itself. Not in a visible way, but in layers he didn't even know existed. There's a thaw occurring, a melting in the heart, a slow warming that only genuine love can provoke. You were a bomb where there was rigidity. You were a pause where there was only escape. You were a home where he only knew transience. And this has transformed him. Even if he doesn't yet know how to thank you. Even if he continues to keep his distance. Your love has been the remedy he didn't ask for, but his soul needed. And you? You were also touched. You were also pierced by something that can't be explained. Because loving like this, with such depth, has also revealed old wounds. It has forced you to see yourself with more compassion. This bond is a two-way street. You heal. But you are also being healed. That's why, even with all the pain he causes you by pulling away, you can't bring yourself to hate him. You can't shut the door completely. Because deep down, you know there's something sacred happening there. The angels show that what you offer him is not common. It's alchemy. Your love is breaking patterns. It's dissolving barriers he built to protect himself from the world. And it's not your job to heal him completely. But it is part of your journey to have been an instrument of light in the darkness, from which he didn't know how to escape. You loved him without invading. You saw him without demanding. And this to him is new. Scary. Revolutionary. He will still try to hide. He will still test his own limits. But what you have already planted inside him cannot be undone. Love, when it's medicine, doesn't demand immediate healing. It simply acts, even from a distance, even in silence. And you, with all your sweetness and quiet strength, have become that silent miracle in his life. Keep being light, not for him, but for yourself. Because those who love with purity heal the world without even knowing it. Have you noticed how, even after everything, this connection hasn't left? How, despite the silence, something inside you still believes. The angels say, nothing is out of place. Every step you took was written in light. There is a force guiding it all. You may not see it, but your soul knows. Because this love, this story, isn't coincidence. It's purpose. You didn't love by mistake. You were chosen, invited to live something beyond understanding. Not to be rescued, but to remember how sacred you are. Behind the confusion, there is divine order. And right now, the plan is still unfolding. That man, full of contradictions, is also being guided. Even when he looks lost, heaven is holding him. Dreams wake him. Intuition stirs him. And a memory follows him everywhere, one he tries to forget, but can't. It's you. You are the echo of what's real. The reminder. The mirror. The pulse of something he doesn't understand, but feels. And while he wrestles with himself, you are also being shaped. Because this story isn't only about him finding you, it's about you returning to your faith. Your strength. Your truth. The angels show you, eyes closed, hands raised, and a voice from above saying, trust. I am in control. This isn't the end. It's a passage. Where love and destiny walk side by side. Where absence is preparation. And where God's silence is his most careful protection. You are not alone. The sky watches over you with tenderness. And every tear shed in love is becoming a seed. Trust that the harvest is near. For I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord. Plans to prosper you, not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Jeremiah 29 verse 11. He wants to, but he doesn't know how. This is the moment where the emotion is real, but the action doesn't follow. Where love exists, but fear is louder. The angels say, he loves you in silence. But that silence is not absence, it's armor. You've seen it in his eyes. The pull, the softness, the longing. You've waited. Because you feel. Because your soul knows. There's something sacred moving behind each distance. He grew up believing vulnerability was danger. That loving meant losing. And now in your presence, those beliefs begin to fall, and he doesn't know what's left. You dismantle his defenses. But you also invite him to become. That's why he hesitates. Because loving you would mean facing his need. His longing. His desire for more. And that's terrifying. But the angels show he's beginning to open. He thinks of you more than he admits. He remembers. The words. The silence. The touch. And wonders what he would do without the weight of fear. You are not just love. You are the beginning of truth. You feel it too, the affection, the hesitation. And it hurts. Confuses. Makes you question. But deep down, you've already chosen, not from need, but from soul. He is being touched by an unseen force. And though he still resists, the truth you awakened in him cannot be undone. And when he finally allows himself to feel, it won't be little by little. It will be everything. Because when this man loves, it will be like someone who nearly lost a miracle. There is no fear in love, but perfect love drives out fear. 1 John 4 verse 18, then comes the moment when the heart, tired of trying, simply surrenders. Not out of defeat, but wisdom. You've waited. You've tried. You've softened yourself to fit the gaps he left. And now something within you whispers, breathe, and let go. The angels say, what is meant for you won't need chasing. It will recognize and arrive. Letting go is not giving up, it is trusting. It is placing what you can't control into the hands of the divine. It is saying to life, I did my part. Now I surrender. You are not alone in this. Every silent prayer, every night you chose to love through tears, has been heard. Now your soul wants stillness, peace, space to breathe. Not because you've given up, but because you understand now. You understand your light doesn't depend on anyone arriving. That your worth doesn't wait for permission. That real love begins with you and overflows. If he returns, may it be with truth and maturity. But if he cannot, may you walk forward in peace. Because what is yours is never lost. It aligns with God's perfect time. To accept is to love with freedom. To allow him to choose. And for you to choose yourself, your journey, your becoming. The angels never promised ease. They promised presence. And they are here. Opening ways where there was fog. The right love won't shout. It will arrive softly. And bring calm. You don't need to chase what is already yours. You only need to recognize it when it finds you. And it will. You were never meant to run after. You were meant to be found. Heaven is writing. Trust it.